Most people are not afraid of failure. They're afraid of starting. They believe that God is about to give them that special moment they are waiting for. So they delay. They wait. They tell themselves the same lie every day. Not now. The next year is going to be different. Someday. But someday never comes. Because there is no perfect moment. No perfect timing. No moment where fear disappears. The truth is simple. Clarity comes after action. Confidence comes from action. And the life you want only begins when you move. This is a story about that moment. The moment you stop waiting and take the first step. One afternoon, 10-year-old Ethan walked into the living room. His backpack was still on his shoulders. His eyes were full of excitement. "Dad," he said, "I have an idea." His father, Michael, looked up from his laptop. "What kind of idea?" he asked. "Me and my friend Lucas want to build a lemonade stand. Just a small one, near the park." Michael smiled. "That sounds great," he said. "So, when are you starting?" Ethan hesitated. "Well, we were supposed to start last week, but Lucas keeps saying the next week. His dad doesn't really let him. So we're waiting." Michael nodded slowly. "And who is Lucas's father?" he asked. Ethan said his name. The moment Michael heard it, his smile faded, because he knew that man. Michael lived in a nice house. Not a mansion, but comfortable, a safe neighborhood, a good car in the driveway. He had worked hard to get there, but Lucas's father, Daniel, lived very differently. Small apartment, old car, always tired, not lazy, not careless, just stuck. And years ago, Michael and Daniel had been classmates. They sat in the same rooms, listened to the same teachers, shared the same dreams. They talked about businesses, about freedom, about one day. The only difference between them was never intelligence. It was action. Michael looked at his son. "Ethan," he said calmly, "do you know why Lucas keeps delaying?" Ethan shook his head. "No." "It's not because his dad doesn't let him," Michael said. "It's because Lucas is learning something without realizing it." "What?" Ethan asked. Michael paused. "He's learning how to wait." Michael stood up and walked toward the window. "When I was younger," he said, "Daniel had more ideas than anyone I knew. He could imagine entire futures in his head. Perfect plans, perfect timing. But when it was time to act," Michael shook his head. "He always waited. Waited until he felt ready. Waited until everything made sense. Waited until the fear was gone." Ethan listened quietly. "And the fear never left," Michael continued. "So life moved on without him." Waiting feels smart. Waiting feels responsible. Waiting feels safe. But waiting is dangerous, because waiting slowly becomes a habit, and habits decide where you end up. Michael turned back to his son. "Most people don't fail because they try and lose," he said. "They fail because they never try at all." Ethan looked down. "But what if we fail?" he asked. Michael smiled gently. "That's the wrong question." He sat next to him. "The real question is, what happens if you don't try?" Ethan thought about it. The lemonade stand that never existed. The customers that never stopped. The lesson that was never learned. Something inside him felt heavy. Michael placed a hand on his son's shoulder. "Daniel is a good man," he said, "but he spent his whole life in his head. He believed that thinking was progress, that planning was enough. But ideas don't build lives," Michael said quietly. "Action does." He paused. "Dreams don't die from failure. They die from hesitation." Ethan looked up. So, what should I do? Michael didn't answer immediately. Then he said, "We'll do it." Ethan blinked. "You mean me and you?" "Yes," Michael said. "We'll build the lemonade stand together." Ethan's eyes widened. "But what if it doesn't work?" he asked. Michael smiled. "Then it doesn't." "And what if it does?" Ethan said. Michael leaned closer. "Then you learn something far more important." He paused. "You learn what happens when you take the first step." The next day, they built it. It wasn't perfect. The table was old. The sign was uneven. The lemonade was a little too sweet, but it was real. People walked by. Some stopped. Some didn't. A few bought lemonade. A few smiled. It didn't matter, because something bigger had already happened. Ethan was no longer waiting. That lesson stayed with him. Not about lemonade, not about money, but about life. That confidence comes after action. That clarity follows movement. That the first step is always uncomfortable. But it's the step that changes everything. Most people are full of dreams, but dreams alone don't build futures. Action does. And sometimes, all it takes is a small lemonade stand to understand that truth.